Happy day 24, friends. Y'all, today we're going to be talking about God's treasures and how they are eternal. Now, I'll tell a couple of funny stories in the book about just treasures in my own life that maybe I was seeking after. Whenever I was on Dance with the Stars, of course, there is the mirror ball trophy. And honestly, I didn't even think I was going to make it past week 3. So I didn't necessarily have such a desire to get the mirror ball trophy. I just couldn't even believe I was a finalist. I was so grateful. But then fast forward to a couple years later, and my podcast was nominated for an award. And it was so funny how much I desired to get that award. And I think it was because it just meant a lot to me. Dancing with the Stars, dancing was not really my thing, but podcasting, something I put a lot of time and effort into. For some reason, I just really wanted that validation in this trophy. It was just kind of like a funny thing. Well, what is awesome is I was able to win the award, which I was so grateful for, but it just really put things into perspective really fast because I got this trophy in my hands, and then right after I got it, the producers came and took it from me, and they're like, this actually isn't yours, this is just a prop. And I was like, oh my gosh, isn't that such a great picture of the fact that treasures of the Lord, they're eternal. And these things that we have on earth that are trophies that are shiny and they might seem enticing, they what does the scripture say? They rot and they mold. These treasures, don't store up treasures that are just gonna go to waste. Store up treasures that are actually eternal. And God's treasures are eternal. So when I had to reshape the way I'm thinking about this podcast, I'm I'm not doing this to get earthly rewards. I'm doing this for eternal treasure so that it actually makes an impact. So if I never win another podcast award in my life, I'm still going to do it because this is what I care about, is the fact that people are impacted for Jesus. And so you just need to make sure that your heart's in the right place today. Make sure that, what does it say? Where your heart lies, or your treasure will be also. And it's make sure that your heart is in the right place today. I can't wait for our good friends Olivia and Zach to talk more about this subject. It's a challenging one. For me, I would have never thought I'm putting my treasure in earthly things, but just in that one instance, I realized how much my mindset had just gotten into the wrong place. And so Olivia and Zach, take us to church.
Alrighty, hey everyone. So the verse for today's Devo is going to be Matthew 6:20. And it says, store your treasures in heaven, where moths and rust cannot destroy, and thieves do not break in and steal. So to start us off, I have a little story for you guys. So a few months back, Liv and I went to my parents' house to look through old ornaments to put on our Christmas tree. And while we were looking, I stumbled upon a box filled with all my old trophies that I've won throughout my childhood. It was a box filled to the brim with basketball, soccer, and baseball trophies. And as I looked at the box filled with the plastic and gold painted metal, I was reminded of all the time I put into getting them. And now the only thing I really have to show for all of those accomplishments is stuffed away inside a box, collecting dust in a room that no one even goes in. I just remember me as a kid, and I know all the kids around me, that was a thing, right? Those trophies, some of them were participation trophies, but some were actually, really important, right? And it's I remember that being the sole focus, that is the thing that we were headed towards and what we wanted to accomplish that year, whether it was soccer or baseball or whatever sport. It meant a lot to us that we would see that trophy at the end of the year. I mean, of course, I am still very proud of those accomplishments, and I'm proud of the lessons that I learned along the way to get those accomplishments. But the fact is, those trophies won't last. And in fact, the thing I remember the most in this moment about that box of trophies is that I didn't remember a single one of them until I just so happened to stumble upon that box while looking at old Christmas ornaments. So the fact that possessions, once so meaningful, have just been so easily forgotten, that just shows how finite the things of this world really are.
I love the point that you made that our most prized possessions on earth will one day really mean nothing at all. I feel like we just live in a world that is constantly fighting for our attention, and it's pushing the next new phone, new car, house, and it makes us want to believe that these things will lead to satisfaction when they ultimately won't. If we really want to live an impactful life, we have to be obedient to the things that have eternal impact. And that's impact that can really only come from God. And aside from just material things, you can find that relationships can be idolized that ultimately don't have eternal impact. And as a girl, I remember growing up and being single or wanting a boyfriend. I would idolize that so much in my head, when now looking back, that was just wasted thought and time, because I have my husband, and together our goal is to have eternal impact for the kingdom. And Zach and I have sometimes just been talking and had the thought, it's kind of sad that we're not going to be married in heaven. You know, it seems silly, but we have talked about that before, how, you know, you're not married in heaven. But what we do on earth, and if we work towards having that eternal impact, even though we won't be married, we'll be able to bring the eternal impact that we hopefully made in this life into eternity with us. If Jesus came back tomorrow, would you be proud of what you're putting your time and effort in today? We want to end you guys with the challenge for today. Spend some time today thinking about the one pursuit, thing, or person that has the majority of your attention right now. Is it storing up eternal reward for you? If not, release it to God. If so, thank Him and ask for His help in continuing to pursue eternal things.